folks, my name is Alex. Welcome to Shallibodhran for tonight. And for tonight, it was a requested video specifically about maybe simplifying tone areas on the drum. So it was asked that I explain it in a more oversimplified sort of way about what I had previously talked about in an old video going back, about the different areas, the different areas to where you can find certain sounds. So I thought might as well just start with the basic architecture of the instrument itself. It's a circle, it's completely symmetrical, and because so much of the work is being done with the tone hand on the back of the skin, you're going to be playing with the symmetries of the skin in and around. And what I'd like you to sort of think about, if you're someone who is a bottom end player, someone who's down here, it's the same effect as up here. Okay, same as down here. Okay. What I want you to get away from is thinking with regards to top end versus bottom end. Okay? Because it's a circle and you're covering just as much area going in one way as another, you're going to get more or less the same sounds. The little bit of a difference of that happens when you're playing from the bottom up. There's a lot of open space for you to swing and to lever your hand in, like that, which I would call the choke. You're choking the sound of the drum's open tone. Okay, that's the idea. If you're playing from the bottom, or what a lot of people call bottom end players, you can't just do that. It's a little harder. A lot of people will tend to flip the hand onto the blade on the side. So some people will play up like this. Some people like that from the bottom. My advice is that you find something that's comfortable, but think of it in symmetries. If you're in the center here like this, and you happen to play, say you're playing normally, maybe you want to play lower. Does this work as much? The problem I have bringing it up is that suddenly it's a really hard, look, that's the angle I'm at. It's quite a stressful angle for both wrist and forearm and the muscles to all work quickly, because you're actually kind of jarring up against bicep and into elbow. So instead, what I would like you to think, try this, is if you're in the center and you're trying to create tones and things, keep the hand generally flat. Like, we'll call this neutral. Then you have above. When you're playing above it, bring the hand up. If you're going lower, bring it down. Some of you do find it okay to use the blade of the hand and go down like this. I actually don't do that. I leave my hand this way. I'll go up like this. See how I'm angled a little bit? But if I'm playing lower, I actually tend to press my hand more this way, so I'm putting a lot of weight at the bottom. And I'm actually, that sort of idea. Now, if this was truly symmetrical, you would be able to make the exact same sounds above and below. This is not particularly true, though. And the reason being, I'm going to use a thinner tipper for this. See how high I can get? When I go low, so we got a problem. I can't quite get in with that, and there's a reason. And the reason is how you're playing out with the wrist. Back up. You can hear it. It's there. Okay? But if you're playing low, you're still hitting in that same direction. It's a lot harder, and you can't get quite the same sharpness of it. So while this is a symmetrical instrument, and you might want to think of the hand's travel as somewhat symmetrical, this hand isn't. Unfortunately, the wrist, the arm, the fingers, and everything is not symmetrical, so therefore you can't actually be symmetrical. You can try to get some of those higher ones down here, but you're going to be pressing into your body this way. You may have to lean in to grab it. So a lot of times, I won't say traditionally, but a lot of times when I'm teaching for, say, John Joe Kelly or a top end sort of thing, I say you got a base, you have the choke, choke low and choke high, you have pops, which tend to work really well when you're striking out, but very, very low, the pops work better striking in. So when you're playing, you have a high pop, because if you try to bring it back, you actually kind of, if you're a single-end player, it risks kind of smacking yourself in the face. If you prefer something more double-ended, it's a little less important, but you're still going to swing awfully close to your face. It's not very useful in that backstroke. But if you're playing lower, so my hand's going down here, doing that is a dead hit. It's very nice, but it's not a pop. The pop's done with a back swing. Oop, there you go. Like that. So now I'm thinking of this instrument with regards to, if I'm playing and I'm popping high, I'm doing that way. If I'm going low, I'm popping with a hard backstroke. And I'm really using the forearm to crank it. There you go. There's a good one. You're going to have to experiment on the back, because when you're down there, you just don't have the leverage. I mean, if we were a creature had an arm that just came straight out like that, if we all played perfectly symmetrical to it like some sort of machine, it would be different. We would be able to attain perfect equality, perfect symmetry as we're playing. Unfortunately, this is not how it works. What it does is that it tends to flavor how we're playing. Let's get a beat going. Okay. Actually, I should show this side. To help you kind of develop that, pick whatever tipper you prefer. I'm going to make it using this one because it's a lot easier. And the idea is that you're playing whatever pattern you'd like. And I'm going to use 2 pops going on the high. That's pretty simple. Do it again, only having the 2 pops in the same pattern coming back from the opposite. That way. Okay? Okay, it's going to be a little different because you have like that. Okay. And now, when you've got that, switch it from top to bottom, top to bottom. and keep adding stuff to it, but keep that back and forth motion going. Okay. Last section is going to be this front bit here and the back bit. So we have pops that come from top to bottom, but if you're moving it forward, the hand doesn't really do that. One thing you may want to try is trying to make an L, an upside down L. It's kind of difficult though, because you have to go from here, here, and you kind of, because you're grabbing, you got nowhere to go. So unless you have a small drum, you may have a very hard time, if an impossible time, trying to get that to work. But what you can do are what I like to call dead hits from the back and the front. These are kind of like the tom hits, like that. And it's just pushing from the center. Okay? So you have basically three areas that usually get played, up here, here, and down here. Okay, the center, kind of, you start from there, from the open kick. Okay? So up, kick in the center, down, and then in the front you have something of an in-between. Flat hit. Back behind, it's almost like you're hitting part of the tom. Normally you're hitting down here or up here, not in the front. You're hitting in the top, lower, or from back here in the center. It's kind of a dead hit as well. So you kind of have to use, the easiest way to get that tom sound is from the center. You can see my fingers here, from the center, which means because of how, so that's what you're using there, you lose it up here. So you have controls of in one zone, another zone, and a zone in the back. Okay? All of them have a different sound, but they're all tom hits. You know, kind of like on a kit drum, they have the sort of sound to it. Like that. You can't get that as much on the front because you lose something. You're losing, unless you have, you know, two palm heels, you know, double-handed palm heel, you can't do it. Okay, your hands just aren't built like that. If you're using more mallet ends and you like using a lot of double-ended playing, it makes less of an impact because of the type of tipper you're using. Okay, so if you're using more of a dowel type or something like a point hit tipper or those whipper tippers, yeah, they're going to have more of an effect. But down here, you're going to have less of that effect in general. Generally speaking, mallet tippers are less for tone, more so for the sake of getting a nice percussive thud out of it. Okay? So as much as we try to think about one of these as completely symmetrical, it really isn't. You can try by flipping the hand over, trying to work with the anthropometrics of the hand. That's not really possible. And you kind of have to start thinking of zoning the drum in a way that's advantageous for you. That would mean if you like hitting pops, they're going to be one direction from the top, another direction from the bottom. Out from the top, back from the bottom. Okay, out from the top, back from the bottom. And if you're trying to control the tom hits, okay, you're going to have to be a little more creative because you will not be able to get them from the front. Your fingers are there to choke the rest of it, to provide that flat hit. Okay? Whereas from the back, you have the tom sounds. So as you're playing, you're going to figure out how you can sort of replicate aspects of the kit drumming on a Ballron. It's difficult. course, the little exercise that I have, which is about just sort of feeling things out. Okay. Okay. Having to figure that out, seeing what works with your hands. I prefer to use the flipping method like this, or if I'm playing low, I just angle it in like an angle here, and then play it in like that on the back. But I am generally more so, as people would normally say, a top-end player. That sort of idea. So give those a shot. If you're finding it a little annoying and difficult trying to follow videos and hand placements on the back of the drum, maybe you want to start thinking about symmetries in the drum, and where the symmetries start falling apart. So give it a shot, folks. Thanks for watching, and have a